Order. Today is September 6, 2019. The time is 10 a.m. First item on the agenda is prayer. Y'all would please just join me on this Friday, and we will pray the Our Father. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Thank you. Next item is approval of the journal. Roll call, please.
Congressman Bighorse.
Present.
Congresswoman Edwards.
Present.
Congresswoman Goodfox.
Present.
Congresswoman Lemon.
Present.
Congressman Maker.
Here.
Congressman Mason.
Present.
Congressman Potts.
Present.
Congresswoman Pratt. Congresswoman Stabler.
Present.
Congressman Walker.
Here.
Congresswoman Whitehorn.
Here.
Speaker Tillman.
Here.
Assistant Chief Redcorn.
Present. We have a quorum. Now is the approval of the journal. Please look at the journal from the third day, September 5th.
Move to approve the journal of September 5th.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Congresswoman. One abstention, Congresswoman Lemon. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is reports of select committees. Do we have any reports of select committees? Congressman Potts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to report that the Appropriations Committee met to consider ONCA 1970, an act to authorize and appropriate $173,673 for merit payments in accordance with the Workforce Pay for Performance Act and to establish an alternate effective date. Committee met. Final committee action is due pass with 4 yes votes from Potts, Bighorse, Stabler, Whitehorn, with 2 absent, Walker, and Edwards. Additionally, the Appropriations Committee met to consider ONCA 1976, an act to provide an appropriation to the Office of the Attorney General of the Osage Nation for fiscal year 2020 in the amount of $1,756,999, and to establish an alternate effective date. Sponsor is myself. Final committee action is due pass with amendments, with 5 yes votes from Potts, Walker, Bighorse, Stabler, Whitehorn, 1 absent, Edwards. Appropriations Committee also met to consider the appointment of Mr. Scott Manzer as the Investment Oversight Committee. Final committee action is that the candidate is qualified by education and experience, and there are no legal or ethical or legal barriers to service. With 4 yes votes from Potts, Bighorse, Stabler, Whitehorn, 2 absent, Edwards, and Walker.
Thank you, Congressman Potts. Are there any other reports of select committees? ONCA 1970 and ONCA 1976 will move to general order. Next item are reports of standing committees. Any reports of standing committees? Congresswoman Edwards. Oh, I'm sorry, Congresswoman Goodfox.
Commerce, Gaming, and Land met regarding bill number ONCA 1908, an act to amend the Competitive Bidding Act at 15 ONC 2-403A by amending the definition of governmental agency and to establish an alternate effective date. Sponsor is Congressman Tillman. The final committee action was no recommendation. Voting yes, Goodfox, Pratt, Stabler, Whitehorn, Walker, 1 absent, Lemon. And we sent it out. The sponsor is going to withdraw the legislation, and we have one more like that. Commerce, Gaming, and Land Committee met regarding Bill Number ONCA 1920, an act to amend the Competitive Bidding Act at 15 ONC 2-403A by amending the definition of governmental agency to establish an alternate effective date. The sponsor is Congresswoman Pratt. Final committee action, no recommendation, with yes votes from Goodfox, Pratt, Whitehorn, Stabler, Walker, and one absent lemon.
Thank you, Congresswoman Goodfox. Congresswoman Pratt.
I move to withdraw ONCA 1920.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Congresswoman Pratt.
I'll go ahead and move to withdraw ONCA 1908 as well.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Motion passes. Any other reports of standing committees? Next item are bills and resolutions on first reading. Do you have any bills and resolutions on first reading? Congresswoman Edwards.
Reading an ONCA 1964, an act to establish an intertribal elder housing fund and to provide an alternate effective date. I was unable to get those amendments in, but I will be working on a committee substitute. Thank you.
Thank you. Congresswoman Goodfox.
Reading in ONCR 1921, a resolution declaring congressional consent and approval of the Osage Nation Gaming Enterprises Board Annual Plan of Operation for fiscal year 2020.
Thank you. ONCA 1964 will be assigned to the Governmental Operations Committee. ONCR 1921 will be assigned to Commerce. Next item on the agenda, General Order Day 1, second reading. ONCA 1967, an act to provide an appropriation to the limited liability company Osage Nation Ranch, LLC, in the amount of $175,000 for bison fencing and to establish an alternate effective date. Congressman Potts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to read ONCR 1919, a resolution to reject Governor Stitt's claim that the gaming compact between the Osage Nation and the state of Oklahoma must be renegotiated.
Thank you, Congressman. Next item on the agenda, General Order Day 2, where amendments may be proposed. Congresswoman Pratt.
I'm going to move to withdraw ONCA 1876.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Motion passes. We are now at motions and notices. Are there any motions and notices? Congressman Bighorse.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. GovOps will meet at 1 o'clock today, and we have a pretty heavy load, so just wanted to warn everybody.
Thank you, Congressman. Congressman Mason.
Health and Social Services will meet Saturday morning, 8 a.m.
Saturday morning, 8 a.m., Health and Social Services. Thank you, Congressman. Any other motions and notices? Congressman Potts.
I'd like to make a motion to place the confirmation of Mr. Scott Manzer to the Investment Oversight Committee on Monday's agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. Congressman Edwards.
So does he need to be confirmed? That's my question.
I have that question posed to legal counsel right now. I don't have the answer just yet.
All right.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. That will be added to the agenda on Monday. Any other motions and notices? Briefly, I would like to meet with Congressman Big Horse, Congressman Mason, and second speaker, briefly after in my office. Anything else? Congresswoman Goodfox.
Motion to adjourn until 10 a.m. Monday.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. We are adjourned.